Hello, dear friends. I think I got my phone figured out to where I can record. And had something happen this morning to completely change my day, completely change my plans. My husband had to be at a very early appointment, about 40 minutes away. And then when I got home, I was going to have to go clean a house. Then I had to go clean another house. That was going to be pretty much my day today. But the Bible says you can make a plan, but the Lord determines your steps. I want to talk a little bit about that today. As always, I encourage you to take anything you hear to the Lord, no matter who you hear it from. He has the final say, and that way it protects you from, being deceived or anything like that. He has all truth. So if you hear something, take it back to him and talk to him about it and say, Lord, if that wasn't the truth, show me. But, I found myself for many years rejecting and rebuking a lot of things that the Lord was in, that he was using to teach me. That's a little bit what I want to share about today. Now, for sure, this may not be for everybody. I want to say that. It may not be. It's according to where you are in your walk with the Lord. All right? Doesn't mean that if this is not for you that you're any less than. It just means that you might not be ready to think about these things. But I believe there are some people that come to this channel that might be ready to hear these things if you haven't heard it or thought about it yet. All right? I've got just a few scriptures. Let the Lord lead you and guide you and show you more scriptures if you want to learn more about this. All right? So that's what it's about. I pray the Lord help me to be able to explain it clearly. Y'all, this is taking me years to believe. When I first thought I was hearing from the Lord about this, I had to keep questioning, Lord, I don't understand what you're saying. Is this really you? I had to wait. We got to wait on these precious truths and treasures from the Lord, don't we? So let me just share just a very few here and pray that you could think about it, all right? All right. Lord, help me to be clear. All right. Let's see what I got to start with here first. I don't know if I want to share that. Maybe I'll come to that, but look. All right. I'll start here. I've heard people say that God is not in the storms of our life. That the bad circumstances and the bad situations that may come and touch us and trouble us, that they're not from the Lord. That he's not in them. All right? They're to be rejected and rebuked. They're from the enemy. That's something the Lord had to convince me of. And if you're not convinced of it, only the Lord can convince you of that. So, this right here, as I was asking the Lord about this, Lord, are you really in the hard times? Or can I only find you in the good times? Is reading the scriptures the only way that I can hear from you? Because I had people too telling me that, God does not speak. That only what you lay eyes on in the scriptures is the only way he can speak to you. But for me, honestly and truthfully, I hear the Lord through everything. Situations and circumstances. All kinds of things. And the more you walk along with them and grow with them and get to know them and recognize his voice, because he said, my sheep will hear my voice. They'll follow me. It just really helps us to know him more. And that's what he wants. He wants us to press on to know him more. To find him out in all ways. And this right here, so as he was teaching me these things, he led me to different scriptures in the Bible to prove it to me. That what he was trying to show me and teach me, that which I didn't know for sure that I was hearing from him, he took me to the scriptures to prove it. And that's how I always, receive my confirmation, is to be able to find it in the scripture. So, a couple of scriptures that I want to bring out here. Where's that one at? In Job. Okay, Job 33:14. God speaks in one way and in another way, though man does not always recognize it or perceive it. He is speaking all the time. He has much to say. He is the eternal God. From everlasting to everlasting, generation to generation. He's always speaking and teaching. It's just that we don't always perceive it and recognize it. And this, what I'm going to share right here, the Lord has helped me to recognize him more in my everyday life, y'all. That's the thing. Not just when you're going to church and worshiping and praising and hearing the pastor speak. Not just when, you're reading the scriptures, but throughout your day. You can recognize him and get to know him more. He is active all day long, 24/7. Not just when you're at church or when you're reading or when you're praying. He's active and speaking and working at all times. It's just that we haven't yet recognized that. And that's just fine. But for anybody that wants to think about it, I submit to you, take it to the Lord and think about it. Look up some scriptures about it. Ask the Lord to show you more if you want to know more. He's speaking in every which way, y'all. It's just that we don't hear it. We don't recognize it. So now I want to go to, let me just look at that what I heard someone say, and I've read and everything, that the Lord is not present in the hard times. He's not, if a hard situation and a hard circumstance comes to us, it could be anything. Like me and my husband got in an argument this morning. Well, not really an argument, but oh my goodness, we're really just being mean and harsh towards each other. Neither one of us awake. We went out to the gas station to get some gas, getting ready for this trip to the doctor. And I'd been having a problem with the tire, slow leaking. I had been putting air in it 2 times a day, especially out riding the roads doing my job. And it was just flat as a flitter this morning. And we live right next to the gas station about it. So I was able to get it there, but wasn't no fix flat, no air gonna help this tire. I had to change it. Well, that bothers my husband because he can't see, and I know it bothers him when I have to do things that he feels like it's his job to do. It bothers him, and I can understand that. And I think that's part of what was going on this morning, because he was just right over me while I was trying to change that tire, telling me how to do it, this, that, and the other. My back was hurting. I'm just like, please, if you can just not speak for a few minutes, let me do this. I can do it. I'll be all right. I'm feeling ill. My back's hurting. I'm not even awake. I ain't even drunk a whole cup of coffee. And this ain't the way I plan to start my day. We were just back and forth at each other, right? So say, something like that comes. This is how every situation that comes to me, this is how the Lord has taught me to process it, to think about it, to learn and grow from it. It didn't just happen for any reason, That's the way I see things. So that exchange between me and my husband that was not nice, And I could go away from it and be mad at him for what he said. And he can go away from it and be mad at me and steaming. But rather I see it as the Lord wants. He will use it for my good. He causes all things to work together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. If you're walking with the Lord, desiring to know him more, that's you. He will work all things. All things, it says, y'all. So even that thing I didn't like, that argument with my husband. Yeah, I could see the enemy in that. I could see the enemy trying to come and divide and, accuse or cause a problem. But even greater than I see the enemy in it, I see the Lord there. Because he said he's a very present help in times of trouble. Well, that was a troubling time, arguing with somebody. It's not a happy time. It's not a fun time. It's a troubling thing. He's very present. And I've learned that in all things, in all ways, in everything that comes to me, he has a lesson for me. Something he wants to teach me. It might be how to deal with people better going forward, learning a lesson. It might be something coming to humble me. It might be, a form of correction for me. You never know what it might be. This is very personal. Nobody else can tell you about, why that situation came to you or what you can learn from it. Go to the Lord. Like 1 Thessalonians 5:18 says, give thanks in all circumstances. How do you do that? I remember when I was seeking the Lord to understand it more. Lord, how in the world do I give thanks in this circumstance? For example, keep using this argument with my husband this morning. How do I give thanks for that? We were rude with each other. We were harsh with each other. We got on each other's nerves. We were ill. How do I give thanks for that? That tire going flat. He can't go to his appointment. We had to change that, this, that, and the other. How do I give thanks? I'm not giving thanks for the circumstance. I'm to give thanks in it. And how do I do that? What was Paul talking about here? I believe it's because there's a lesson in it. There is room for us to grow here. What the enemy might have meant for evil, he will cause to work for my good. James 1, 2 through 4, count it all joy, brothers, when you meet various trials of many kinds. Know that it's a testing of your faith to produce perseverance and endurance in you. Because y'all, these hard times, these afflictions, people insulting you, arguments, sickness to the physical body, losing jobs, you name it. That's not going to stop while we're walking through this world. Hard times come. Situations catch us by surprise, but they don't catch him by surprise. He knows your beginning to your end. He knows the plans he has for you to prosper you and not harm you. He knows what's going on. And he says right here that count it joy when these trials and troubles and things come to you, for it is a testing of your faith. Are you going to let the cares and troubles that come to you choke out your faith, keep you from seeking the Lord, keeping you from knowing he is all good, and that anything that comes to you he will cause to work for the good? That your hope and your confidence and your trust is in the Lord, not in yourself, not in these people, and not in all these situations. I believe the Lord showed me. He gave me this scripture too to bring this home for me. I know this might be a lot to think about if you've never thought about it. I'm going to list the scriptures I'm using below. You can think about it if it speaks to you, if it perks your interest, if the Lord brings it back to your mind the next time a hard circumstance comes to you, and it could be today, is to say, Lord, are you trying to speak to me through this? What do you have to say through this? How can I give you thanks in this circumstance? How do I count this joy, Lord? How is it you're testing my faith through this circumstance? You can ask those things of Him. He will respond to you. He will. Expect He will answer. Because you ask Him. You ask Him about it. Colossians 3:2, set your mind on things above, not things below. And that's what I say. All right, we're living here in this earth. An earthly circumstance happens. Again, this argument with my husband, my tire going flat this morning. That is an earthly circumstance that came to me. But he says, all right, Misty, set your mind on things above. Don't focus on this problem. Don't focus on the argument. Because if you do, you're going to be mad. You're going to be hurt feelings. You're going to be offended if you focus on this earthly thing that happened. But see what is above. See the eternal implication of that problem. See that I am here to teach you. See that I am here letting that thing come to test your faith. Turn to me in all situations and circumstances. Ask me for understanding. See if I won't pour my wisdom out to you through this hard time, because I'm a very present help in your time of trouble. I'm here. I have all understanding. My ways and thoughts are higher than yours, Misty. You might be tempted to look at this problem. Why did you let this happen? Why is he so rude to me sometimes? But rather, set your mind on things above, where Christ sits at the right hand of the Father. He sees all things. He knows all things. He is in charge. And find out how you can rejoice in this, what you can learn from this. That's kind of what he showed me about that. And y'all, I'm going to finish with this. I know it got long. But if the Lord is not in the hard times, and He is not in the storms, well, we're in a lot of trouble. Because they do come. They do happen. And they did for Jesus when He was here on this earth. If God is not in the hard times, then how in the world did Jesus ask that cup of suffering would pass from Him, that He would have to go and die for the sins of the world on the cross, and it still happened? You don't think the Father wasn't in that? Jesus is our example. But see, Jesus knew that there was an eternal purpose to what was happening there. It wasn't just what we could focus on and see was happening here, going on, but there was a reason for it, a purpose in it. God was causing all things to work together for His good. He said, for the joy set before Him, Jesus endured the cross, that many might be saved. So He endured that hard time. He endured that circumstance. And yes, the enemy was in it. And yes, the enemy was working through the ones who nailed Him up on that cross. But you remember what Jesus said to Pilate. Pilate said, don't you know I have the authority to crucify you or set you free? What did Jesus say? Only authority you have over me is what is given by our Father in heaven. I pray anybody could think about that. I love y'all. And now I must wait on the Lord to find out what He wants to teach me through what happened this morning. Does He want to humble me? Does He want to help me to be more kind and gentle with my husband? I have to wait and see what He'll teach me. And I guarantee He's got something to teach you through the hard thing you're going through today. Seek Him with all your heart. Wait on Him. Expect to hear from Him. He will cause good to come from that. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.